Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you inky savages are joining us here for episode number 187 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. We got a special guest on this week. He is a very good friend of mine, a very cool dude, and he's got some cool things to show us and to talk to us about. This is none other than my good friend, and Tom's good friend, Bryce Gillette.
What's going on, everybody?
He is the owner, right?
Not owner.
Kind of.
Not owner.
Okay.
Well, yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So his parents are the owners of Luxury Brands of America, distributors of distributors of the new line of Benu. Well, it's not a new line. It's just the distribution is new for them. They're distributing the 325s. Is that what it was?
From Laban?
From Laban, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we're distributing everything from Laban, but the 325 is their bestseller for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're distributors of Laban. They're distributors of Noodlers Inc. They're distributors of Endless Recorders. They're distributors of Platinum, which brings me to what I wanted to just talk to you about a little bit about is the Chai Latte. No, I'm not talking about your beverage that you get at your overpriced coffee places. I am talking about a fountain pen that is absolutely gorgeous. Now, they are excited to introduce the third iteration of the Shape of Heart series, and it is called the Chai Latte. This beautiful pen features a matte tan cap with a matte white body and grip section. That's not an inking nightmare at all when it comes to stains. In this edition, 3 heart pieces are put into the crown dome based on the concept of you, me, and happiness. So it's like a snow globe.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
little
So there's like a bunch of
hearts
like loose crystals in there, and then because you know the breather hole on the 3776 is a heart. So when they stamp out that breather hole, they actually took the little heart stamps and put that into the cap.
That's awesome. See,
Yeah,
that's
pretty cool.
just not wasting gold. What would they do with it otherwise?
Melt it down and make more nibs with it.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
they wouldn't waste it anyway, because I would think it would be foolish to just stamp out hearts and throw them away. Similar to, you know what? I think it's just brilliant how they are on the same wavelength as Dunkin' Donuts, right? So like at one point they were stamping out donuts, and then they're like, you know what? We'll just sell the little balls that would have been in the middle, right? It's the same thing, right? We're not sponsored by Dunkin'
Donuts. We're
Donuts.
Munchkins out of it, you know? Yeah.
Right. So the pen nib, the clip, and the middle trim are decorated with rose gold plating. The body is bicolored in pale tone and white, and the surface is matte blasted to make sure the nib clip and crown dome stand out. Now, I think that's a great idea. You know what you should do, though? You should definitely make it more snow globy, right? So, like, take the 3 gold little hearts and fill that little crown with water, so that way the hearts,
there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
So
it is like, right?
Shatters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think that one through.
No,
Forget
it's
that.
okay. I mean, it'd be pretty cool though. You know,
Right.
Like, you just have to get like a really high strength, glass or something, like a borosilicate glass or something. That'd be pretty.
Or crystal, right? Because that won't raise costs.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Anyway, this pen is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way it looks. Tom said he was going to send me one. No, so that one didn't work. Bryce said he was going to send me one.
Yeah, we did not have any more.
Okay, so that didn't work either. Anyway, in addition to distributing the wonderful platinum pens such as the Chai Latte, they also distribute inks called, and I pronounced it wrong the last time, the Alchemy inks. What did I say it was last time, Tom? Alchemy? It was something really stupid, right?
It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you.
So,
Yeah, it's okay.
so anyway.
It's the Endless Alchemy inks.
Yes.
Yeah, and Tom is going to talk about the Endless Alchemy inks. We're under a lot of pressure here because he is our sponsor.
Hey,
Bryce
you're doing great.
is our sponsor, so, Tom, go for it.
Well, the Endless Alchemy inks, there's ink, and you put it in your fountain pen, and it writes.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
They cannot be transmuted to gold, despite the title.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
It's
true.
right. It
They
didn't
look
come
like
out yet,
little
but
beaker flasks. They're
Right.
like, pretty cool. Yeah.
you're fired. But they're not out yet. But the wait is almost over for the new
Yes.
Endless Alchemy inks.
They're coming.
Ink bottles just got a lot more exciting. Introducing the new Alchemy Fountain Pen ink collection from Endless Stationery! Exclamation mark. With their fun-shaped bottles and double-sided base, you can either play with your ink bottle on your desk or flip the cork base over to stand the bottle upright to fill your favorite fountain pen. Each bottle comes with a story of inspiration of the alchemist's ability to wield each ink. So, come with us on a journey to discover the new world of alchemy inks from Endless Stationery. I love this next line. All of the alchemy inks are suitable for use in fountain pens and dip pens.
Hey,
Well,
you gotta,
thank God Bryce wrote that one in, because I'll tell you what, I wasn't sure until I read that. I wasn't sure what it was for.
Hey,
Right?
listen, that was on their website, and I was like, I'm just going to put it in there. Just
you
cover
ever-
all bases.
Did you ever buy like a food product and it says on the food product it is suitable for human consumption? Right? So like that, like before you read that, you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy this and eat it. And then you see the sign on it that says it is okay to eat this. Then you're like, I don't know if it's okay to eat this anymore.
Thank God.
All right.
Yeah.
There's one more from Endless. I'm doing extras this week for Bryce because Bryce is on the show. Whenever you purchase the new limited edition Rainforest Retro 51 luxury brand's exclusive Tornado Rollerball ballpoint pen, you're giving money to the rainforest, with animals of the rainforest wrapping around the pen and a tree frog perched on the finial. How adorable.
Yeah, it's so cute.
This Retro 51 is sure to be one of a kind. This one for real. A portion of the proceeds of the purchase of this pen will be donated to the Rainforest Trust to help protect endangered animals and landscapes around the world. So if you don't buy this pen, you are responsible for the deaths of species of animals in the rainforest across the world.
Hey, you heard
They
it
are
here first.
limited.
No pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. They are limited to 500 individually numbered pieces worldwide, and you have to purchase them directly at luxurybrandsusa.com/product/retro51.
Yep.
If that was too much for you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to put the link in the description below so that you can click it and buy it. This is beneficial for everybody. This is beneficial for you because you'll have a nice pen to write with. It is beneficial for the animals of the rainforest because they'll get money and they won't die. And then you can feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that's an excellent, excellent thing. Get a new pen, save a bird or a frog or a rainforest animal.
Or a jaguar or a, whatever. Yeah.
Now, again, there's only 500 and they're limited worldwide.
Yeah.
So we've been
All
reading
one of a
this one
kind.
for some time now, which means you guys aren't buying it. So please make your purchases to save
We're-
animals. And
We're
so
almost
that I
sold
don't-
out. We're
They're
getting
almost
there.
sold out.
Yep.
Yeah. And when here's the thing, guys. Please buy this pen, because when they sell out, I don't have to read this read ever again. Okay.
I think what people are saying is I'm just going to take it off. Is what I'm going to do for next week.
No, we're gonna read it until they all sell out because
There you
I am an animal lover. I'm an animal lover. I love animals. I even love the ones that like grizzly bears. My biggest fear in life is being eaten alive by a grizzly bear, but I still think that
It's like very specific.
Yeah, no, it's just being eaten alive by a grizzly bear is my biggest fear.
Okay,
but I'm
you
going
know
to leave the
what's
description. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And speaking of links in the description below, please check out my other sponsor, Goldspot Pens. Goldspot Pens is home to all the awesome brands that we were talking about and many more. So please check out the affiliate link, and only the affiliate link. If you find yourself on a Goldspot link and it's not my affiliate link, no good. It's fake. It's
Turn
it's a
around
scam.
now.
The only good one is the affiliate link in the description below. And while you're at it, making your purchases for your fountain pens, whether it be inks, notebooks, fountain pens, please use coupon code Tom
Titanium.
Titanium. at checkout for an additional savings on all products on the Goldspot website with some exclusions applying. Now, I'll tell you what, my buddy Bryce is not snotty. Their brands are not excluded from the discount. There are other brands that are just like, a little bit too, we don't do discounts, so it doesn't work. There's only a few, though. So try the discount code Titanium at checkout and make sure you get yourself an extra discount. Buy all your stuff there. Buy all your luxury brand products there. And all the good stuff that luxury brands provides will be on the Goldspot website. And if there are products that are not on the Goldspot website that is distributed by Luxury Brands of America, we will make that change. We will get it to happen.
It's harass Tom.
Well, the only thing is that Rainforest pen is only available at Luxury Brands.
That is true.
That is true.
That's direct.
Rainforest, yes. Yeah, so don't give them any crap about that. Yeah.
Right, but give him crap about everything else. Now, thanks again for joining us for episode number 187 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. But before I get started, I got to give you guys a quick disclaimer. This podcast is not scripted, and therefore will contain potty mouth words from all of us, mostly from me. So be forewarned, you have been warned. Now, on to the podcast.
The PenBoyRoy Entertainment Podcast. Stay savage.
So we're back, and today we are excited to have my good friend Bryce Gillette from Luxury Brands of America to join us, and it's like I have representation from all my sponsors. But don't worry, folks. In classic PenBoyRoy fashion, I call people out on bullshit, and if he sold something that was crap, I will tell him. But it is really good to see you face to face, well, kind of face to face,
Yeah.
And it's been too long since we actually hung out.
Yep.
I think the last time we hung out, I got you addicted to the fish hobby, and then since then, maybe you've had a little bit of success, maybe not so much success.
Well, yeah. So it was going really well at first. Everything was fine, and then I was testing the water. The water was perfect. Everything seemed fine, but I could not keep the fish alive. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if there was something in the water that was like making them sick or something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It could also just be weak breeding, because the betta fishes that we raise, oftentimes they're bred in such quantity that their genes gets diluted and they are just weak species.
Yeah.
Right. So I heard that wild bettas are the way to go if you want strong ones, but these fancy bettas, a lot of times you just do everything, because you were doing all the water checks. You were like a friggin' chemist.
Yeah,
at work.
It was like
right.
It was zeros across. I mean, you saw like the ammonia spike, then that came down, then the nitrite kind of came up, and then that went down, then the nitrate, and it never went above like 10 parts per million nitrate, ammonia, and nitrite were all zero like the entire time. And I was like, what in the world is happening? I don't understand.
Yeah,
so
I felt bad because you were spending about $50 on a fish, beautiful fish, and then you would get them, you would have them for a couple of weeks. The first one though was pretty good. He just committed suicide.
Yes.
Yeah, he jumped out of the tank.
Crazy bastard, that one. Yeah.
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 And the crazy thing is how small the opening it was.
Yeah, it was literally, for people who can see me, it was literally like this much. I mean, it was not anything substantial.
Right. So the fish just jumped out of the tank. It was fish suicide. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Speaking of suicide real quick, want to jump in real quick here. Please make sure you check out Good Theory at Instagram at Good Theory, and check out goodtheorywellness.com, because this is a good friend of mine. He is a professional UFC fighter. His name is Lyman Good, hence the name Good Theory. And he's had his own struggles with depression and darkness that he got himself out of. And once he got himself out of it, he made it his mission and his goal to contribute to everybody else's lives in any way he can. So if you know anybody that has any kind of mental health problems, suicidal thoughts, or you think they may, or you suspect they may, it wouldn't hurt to talk to them. Direct them over to goodtheorywellness.com, or any kind of help. The time to talk about stuff like this so we don't lose good people over things that we can change is done. We have all this ability to communicate. We have technology. We have the internet. We have so many resources, and we lose people because we don't take advantage of them. Meanwhile, we take advantage of every other aspect in life. So please check out goodtheorywellness.com. Check out Good Theory on Instagram, as well as Lyman Good if you want to see his fighter profile, his UFC fighter profile. Anyway, let's talk some pens. So we got Bryce Gillette on the show. I'm really excited. What have you got in store for us this week?
Oh, man. Well, so, you know, I was going to come on and talk more about the chai latte and try to, you know, get people to go buy it. But that pen sold out faster than any of the Shape of Hearts before it. You know, like we came out with the black and rose gold one. That one did pretty cool because that was like the first ever kind of thing that Platinum's ever done that with. And then they came out with the all white one, which they called the Ivoire. That one did okay, but it was a hard sell on that. And this chai latte, for whatever reason, when Platinum just put a tan cap instead of a white cap on there, people lost their mind, and and it just sold out. And I've been trying to get more from Platinum. Platinum's out; they don't have any more. So yeah. So thank you to everybody who bought that. That was great. So.
Now, that one is supposed to be delivered sometime, I think, in April?
Like March or April, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like, from a retailer point of view, particularly with Goldspot pens, has not sold any yet, but it's sold out at the distributor / brand level, but the retailer, depending upon whether or not the retailer takes pre-orders, may still have pieces that are available. Like, for example, with Goldspot pens, has not taken any pre-orders on it because that's just not the way that things are usually done. So
yeah. So it was and you know, like, also from our point of view too, you know, we always know when something's going to sell really well based on how many DMs we get in our Instagram. So like the Ivoire came out and it was like pretty quiet, and then the chai latte came out, or it was released, I guess. And it was just like DMs were coming all over the place, and we're like, oh dang, okay, this is gonna do really well. So yeah.
I think it's because of the fact that it's named after the chai latte. Like,
honestly, I think that helps. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it does too. I mean, if there was a matcha latte version, Roy, would you not be all over that?
Yeah, I definitely would. I'm just, you know, I'm wondering though, what was it about the white one that didn't sell as well as the chai latte? And then if the white one didn't sell that well compared to the first one, why would you now go and do another white one with the expectation that it's going to do better?
I don't know.
You were right. It did.
That's a good question for Platinum. I have no idea.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, right? So like when they
that's a good point though.
Proposed it to you, you know, I'm just curious.
Well, I think from like
they were thinking.
I think from Platinum's level of things, I think they still sold out with whatever limited number that one was. I don't know if it was 2,000 or maybe 1,800 or whatever it was. I think they still sold out. So they were like, oh, that did really well, you know, as far as they were concerned, you know. But, you know, obviously we're closer to the retailers than they are, communication-wise. So we got a lot more direct feedback as to what sales were. And, you know, like we'll also like go on and check, like, okay, let's see how things are selling. Let's go on goldspot.com and see if they have any left, you know? And then, you know, so yeah, you know, I think from Platinum's point of view though, they were like, oh, okay, that did really well. So, and I agree with Tom. I think also the name chai latte, you know, if you have an ugly name of something, it isn't going to help sales at all, you know?
What was this white one called?
The Ivoire. It's the French word for ivory, I believe. And it's not that it's an ugly name. It's just I think chai latte resonated with a lot more people.
Also,
right. Also, like
Ivoire, chai latte's got the rose gold plating on it, as opposed to the rhodium too.
Yeah, the Ivoire had the rhodium. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I could see why it would be that the name is less appealing because French is hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, when something's hard to pronounce, it's hard to spell, right? So maybe it was just like people like me who were just like, I like that pen, but I can't find it because I can't spell it. Right.
What was that name of that pen again?
Ivory,
or Ivory.
Right.
Right.
That's why I think Narwhal's decision to change their name to Navalar. Like, I don't agree with it. I think
Isn't it still pronounced Narwhal, but it's just spelled different, right?
Something like that.
Technically, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I say it both ways. I usually say it the way that it's spelt now, and then some people are like, "But it's supposed to still sound like Narwhal." It's like, well,
It's not what it looks like, right?
It's not what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it was because of the whole trademark part of it,
Right?
Like
there
Narwhal
was
was too general of a name. Right.
Right, and they registered the trademark under Novalor, and that was more distinctive also to be found when you Google search instead, because you Google search Narwhal and it's just going to show you
a bunch of Narwhal. Right.
the swimming narwhals.
Yeah,
But you're going to search Novalor, you're going to end up finding the pens.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how it is? Okay, so that makes sense. If you can spell Navalar, you can find the pens. If you
But see, the trick is, how the hell do you spell that? Because I have no
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I still. I mean, I'm proud of him for being a company that does so well, even though I make fun of his decision to make the name change all the time. But yeah.
Yes,
so you wanted to talk about the chai latte, but since they're all sold out, no one can get it. You're like, you know what? Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something else. What else do you have for
Well,
us? Did you bring anything home to show us? Because I do remember saying, hey, Bryce, don't forget to bring something home to show us because it's a video format.
Did you say that? I don't remember you saying that. But I definitely don't remember you saying that. But no, so what I remember, we talked a couple weeks ago, and you were pretty shocked that we were distributing Laban now.
Yeah, I was really excited that you were. I was like, wow, holy cow.
Yeah.
And so I'll go over the conversation so everybody can hear about it, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering how it is that the price is still the same even though now they're going through distribution. How is it that a $200 pen is still $200 even though there's distribution? Because oftentimes in the industry, whenever you see a brand move to distribution, there has to be price increases because the distribution now has to get paid, right? So just to give everybody a quick breakdown, I'm a pen maker. I sell it to the distributor, Bryce, for $50. Bryce then sells it to the retailer for $100, and the retailer sells it for $150, right? So this is just very rough, arbitrary numbers, but just to give everybody an idea. Now, if I sold the pen myself, I could probably sell it for $100 and make all the profit and keep all the profit, right? But I can't handle the logistics of distribution because I'm just a small company. So I need Bryce to do the logistics for me. And Bryce can handle the logistics of mass sales to retailers, and then the retailers handle the sale to the end user. So that's how the chain works.
Right.
Now, somehow, between Laban going from just doing everything themselves to a distributor to the end user, the numbers never changed.
Right.
So explain to everybody how that was possible.
Well, so they had Jerry, who was their U.S. rep / Tom, was he he was their distributor? I mean, technically, he was like their U.S. rep.
He was pretty much what they call like the chef, cook, and bottle washer at Laban USA.
Right. Right.
I felt bad for the poor guy. He would be at these shows and it would just be him, and he's got 6-8 tables with all the pens meticulously spread out, having to and he's just doing it all himself.
Yeah,
and
it was crazy.
But that's largely how Laban was run for like the last, let's say, 15-20 years or so.
Right. Yeah, so that's so to answer your question, I think because of Jerry and his distribution bottle washer, like Tom was talking about, I think they kind of already had the margin built in already. So when we were talking to them about distributing, and the whole thing with Jerry, Jerry did such a great job with the brand for so many years, and once he retired, they needed to find another distributor. And so when we were talking with them, I think, the margin was already included,
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you able to share how it is that Laban came to you as opposed to other distributors in this industry?
Well, yeah. So they contacted probably of more than one person, but I know that they were really close with Kieran and Goldspot, and probably Tom as well. I heard this directly from Kieran is the only reason I'm saying that. And they were asking Goldspot, they're like, "Hey, do you want to be our distributor?" And Goldspot was like, "No." Kieran was not about that, right? So she was very kind enough to recommend luxury brands to Laban for distribution, because it actually works out really well in our product catalog, because we don't have any rainbow pins, we don't have any skeleton pins, we don't have anything really like that, and I know Laban does a lot of other things, but they do, we don't have any like mother of pearl pins or like the big abalone ones. So their product range really fits into what we don't have at the moment. Or at the moment before we started distributing them. So it worked out really well, and like their price point is just phenomenal, with just where all of their products lie in like the $80 to $350 range, it's awesome. So
yeah.
So
what was interesting to me is I always said, I think it was since 2018, I always thought that Laban was a better pen than it ever got credit for. Right? Because, and I think that had to do with the fact that Jerry was, in fact, a one-man show in terms of distributing, going to all these shows. Like, a lot of people, myself included, thought that he was Laban, that he owned the brand and he was just doing everything by himself. Because that's the impression that that it puts out.
Right.
Laban has gotten bigger in terms of its name, and it got bigger in the eyes of fountain pen enthusiasts in recent years, right? And my opinion, and I'm not just saying this because Tom's one of my best buddies and stuff like that, and I love the guy and I think he does great marketing work, but I honestly think that Goldspot had a very huge play in getting Laban from this company that a lot of people kind of just wasn't very well known. People knew about it. Maybe they didn't really give it a second thought. But Tom, since I think 2018, around the time that he and I started like collaborating together, started making all kinds of YouTube videos and started to really shine with his personality. And he would show more Laban pens and get Laban more and more attention.
Right.
So like, Goldspot and Tom in particular has done a great job with that. How much more do you think, being that you are now distributing, do you think you can get the Laban name out there versus where it is now?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's obviously the goal too. Like with Jerry, the fountain pen industry is so different than it was 10 years ago. Now it's so fast. There's so many products coming out all the time, and it's just like a lot more competitive now. So if you're not really into social media with TikTok and Instagram, and know about like the algorithm with Instagram with reels versus posts and stuff like that, it's going to be a hard time trying to get it all out there, but yeah, I mean, I think we have like a really great team, and working with people like Tom at Goldspot, I think it's going to be a really great year for Laban. So yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of like a very good answer for a politician. But I'm asking, what is your plan to make Laban more than it was, or more than it is, right? Yeah. So like you mentioned TikTok. So, that's actually, I appreciate that idea. I'm not big into TikTok. I used to be on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not either. I just honestly use it because Instagram with, Instagram business accounts trying to do reels with the music they provide is brutal.
Right. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So what is your plan in terms of, because there's a lot of retailers out there that don't have Laban products, right?
Yeah.
And because they don't have it, they're not showing it the way Tom is showing it, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like if there was a plan of attack, what is your plan of attack? Like,
Yeah,
are you going to go to?
So number one, Laban's never done, to my knowledge anyway, any like U.S. exclusives, or retailer exclusives for that matter at all. So one thing, because Goldspot was so instrumental in Laban's success over the past few years, we really do think that doing like a Goldspot exclusive like 325 would be really great. Just because the U.S. market really responds to exclusives.
Right.
They just kind of have serious FOMO with it.
Well, just like shorter life cycles too. With Laban would introduce maybe like one 325 color a year, maybe like another. The Sanyu pen in hand, or the one that had the cat on it, which had the artwork and stuff. That was fantastic. That was a whole conceived pen, notebook, ink, all set together, and it was based on the artist that it was designed after, his work, and that did phenomenally because it was just a well executed thematic piece
and
that it was unique.
Cool too,
and it was like a great giftable box, and it all came all in. I think it was like mid 100s in terms of its price point.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
So something like that, but you got to be able to get more of that stuff. Like it's just that doing it once a year is not enough to be continually in the news cycle of what's going on in the pen community. So you need to be not necessarily like an Esterbrook or a Narwhal, which they're dropping pens every 2 seconds, but they need to be out there a little bit. They need to put some more products in the pipeline that will spur interest in the brand.
Exactly. So that's plan number one. Either do definitely get more products. Because that's kind of also the big thing that we've been talking about, for example, with Waldman, and we're kind of taking that on our own backs because Waldman, how Waldman does it is Waldman releases all their new products at the beginning of the year at Ambiente. But the problem is then you have 11 other months that you're not releasing new product. And so
just real quick,
yeah,
explain to everybody where they release it. You said on Ambiente. What
so
is this?
Ambiente is the biggest trade show in the world. It's in Frankfurt, Germany, and it happens every January or February, depending on the schedule. But yeah, it's huge. It's in the Messe Frankfurt Center. It's huge. I mean, it is like, you can walk around all day, every day for 5 days straight and not even see half of it. It's
wow.
It's massive. So it's the largest trade show in the world. And Kaweco is there, Waldman's there, Carandosh is there, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
So you said something interesting earlier. You said that, the fountain pen industry, and I agree with you, is very fast, right? So things are happening very quickly. Products come out, they go. They come, they go. New stuff come, they go. They constantly. Right. And one of the things that you're alluding to is that you're going to change that by encouraging Laban to develop more products, release more products, more designs and stuff like that. And one of those ways is through retailer exclusives. Yeah. For example, a Goldspot exclusive, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason is that they haven't done that before is? Do you think it's because they maybe didn't have the commitment from retailers because they only had one guy running the show, that they didn't want to invest into it? Do you think that's fair to say?
I would say that's fair. When you're only having one person run the show, I think Jerry did a great job, but I think, when you have one person trying to ship product, do sales, answer emails, do everything in a business, it gets really hard to be able to juggle like, okay, I'm going to focus on doing a U.S. exclusive and really like sell it as opposed to just, for lack of a better term, kind of just surviving,
right.
Getting orders out. So, yeah.
So like the retailer U.S. exclusives, right? Would that be for just a U.S. exclusive, meaning all the retailers in the U.S. can sell that exclusive, or is it going to be exclusive to a singular retailer?
Well, so we sometimes we do, for lack of a better term, like luxury brands exclusives. So like with Benu, if we do like a luxury brands exclusive, retailers can only get it from us. Or we'll do like with Waldman, for example, we're only allowed to sell Waldman to retailers in North America. So all the exclusives we do with Waldman are North American exclusives.
Okay.
But I would also like to do specific retailer exclusives with Laban too, like just for Goldspot, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like what Benu has done with Goldspot, and it's been super successful, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's, forgetting about Goldspot, sorry, Tom, but not just Goldspot, right?
Yeah. Right.
How does doing retailer exclusive affect a brand, right? So like if, let's say there's a dozen retailers, which we all know there's more than that, but if one of those dozen gets a Laban exclusive and the rest hasn't gotten it because they don't carry the Laban brand,
right,
would a retailer exclusive encourage other retailers that don't carry a product to carry it?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we saw that significantly with like Benu, for example. Like Benu came out with a limited edition that really sparked everything, which was the pomegranate wine when they moved to Armenia. So that kind of really earned everybody. It's like, oh wow, that's like a really cool thing they did. We started doing a lot of exclusives, but it's a very fine line though. And we were actually talking with Tom and Kieran about this too, and with other people. It's a fine line with doing too many exclusives, and then people just wait for the exclusives and they don't buy the regular product. So there's there's a straight line that you really have to walk on in order to do enough, but not too much, because you see people, I mean, I don't want to say the retailers, but there were a lot of retailers who carry Benu now who didn't a year and a half ago because of like all the, oh wow, that pin's really cool. Because and then you got customers messaging them, hey, are you going to get this pin? Why are you not getting this pin? Why do you not carry Benu? Like that kind of thing. So, but again, like I said, super fine line with not doing too many, and so yeah.
Sometimes I think that's why the job of a distributor can be very difficult, right? Because you think about, everybody thinks about the retailer's perspective. They think about the end user's perspective. Right. What I didn't think about was the fact that retailer exclusives aren't just for the customer. They're not just for me. They're not just to boost the retailer. It's also to entice other retailers. Right. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, so you have to hit this market from more than just the angle of how many sell to the end user. You have to think about what it is that's going to convince the retailer. Right. Which
exactly.
I actually just realize that now as we're talking about this. Can I just jump back to what you were saying about the fountain pen industry moving so fast?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever feel that the direction of the fountain pen industry moving so fast with so many different limited editions coming out to the point where you just feel like they're not limited anymore, or the usage of terms and words that give people the what's that, FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Do you ever feel like it's moving fast to the point of detriment as a distributor?
I think I don't think the industry as a whole. I think specific brands potentially. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to say what brands that I'm thinking of, but there's just certain brands that, it's like how, actually I can't say this. Like Platinum, for example, we've had a really big job this year of trying to figure out how to differentiate 3776s without just making them in new colors, Because it's like, people are like, okay, it's the same pen, it's in a new color. Okay. Like what's new about it. So we were trying to work with Platinum to figure that out. And, you know, kind of going back to with our job as a distributor, you know, we really are trying to work with the retailers to give them what they want and what they need, but also, you know, the manufacturers have their ideas and what they want. And, you know, sometimes we have to be the bearer of bad news and be like, listen, that's not going to work in the U.S. Like, it's just not. Or you did a great job. We're going to sell the crap out of those, you know?
Right.
But I think, I definitely think certain brands or certain products, for example, I'll say, like, I think inks in general are on a very fast downward spiral, because it's like, how many different blue with red sheen inks can there be?
Right.
You know? But ink people are ink people, you know? I mean, they love other inks, you know? So more power to them, honestly.
Right. So, I mean,
yeah.
there are people who will buy two very, very similar blue bottles of ink by two very different brands, and the inks look the same, but it's kind of like a wine. What do they call those people who drink wine?
Or a sommelier.
Sommelier, right?
Yeah.
They're the ink sommeliers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is bringing back memories of when Tom and I first collaborated. We made fun of that. We made fun of my not knowing what that word meant. But to them, there's very fine differences, and they can pick up on it. Me,
exactly.
You know, this eye is bad. I barely see out of my left eye, and I can't really see stuff, so I just get black all the time, right? So it's like, for me, inks aren't the priority, but for a lot of people there are.
Right.
But the thing about inks is, look, you buy a bottle for $12 to $35, sometimes $45, right? Doesn't really break the bank, right? If a guy goes, a person goes out and buys a couple of bottles. With fountain pens, though, do you believe, because I think that there is the risk of oversaturating the market with too many options.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because people get, like, we call it SKU overload. You know, where it's just like, holy crap. Like, I don't even know. I think I was actually talking to Kieran about it, where I think, like, Goldspot, you guys reduced the amount of products you sell, and sales actually went up. Right? Or something like that.
Something
like that.
It's difficult to focus because there's just so many new things that are coming out. And to speak to your point about the exclusives and the limited editions earlier, FOMO, is that there is a certain saturation point. And I think we've seen it happen with Sailor products. We've seen it happen with Retro 51 and with Bennu, where it went from like a fever pitch at points where you couldn't get enough pens in and people wanted them.
Yeah.
But then when too many were available at one time, and you had retailer exclusives dropping, you had limited editions dropping directly from the brand, and then still keeping a core catalog, then it just became too overwhelming, and there's just too many pens available from too many different places.
Yeah.
And it just gets unbalanced, and then people are just like, I'll buy one of those, but they're not going to buy all of them. Right.
It was also but Christmas with Bennu was like a perfect storm of a bunch of stuff. So we didn't know, they didn't tell us that they were going to come out with 2 Christmas pens at first. I mean, they eventually sent them to us, but we had already been working with Penquisition on doing like the Hanukkah oil pen talisman, because every year before that they've only released 1 Christmas pen. I'm like, cool, 1 Christmas pen, 1 Hanukkah pen, clean your hands, done, right? So then they email us and they're like, hey, we're doing 2 Christmas pens, the Berry Merry Christmas, the hand-painted one, and the Christmas Twinkle. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, shoot.
And then on top of that Cult Pens one.
Yeah, and then I found out Cult Pens had their own hand-painted, like, Santa Claus exclusive, too. So there was, like, 4 or 5 holiday Christmas-inspired Bennus that came out within, like, basically all at the same time. So yeah, and I mean, they could have doubled or tripled the amount of the Berry Merry Christmas they made and not made the Christmas Twinkle, and it would have been better, because the Berry Merry Christmas was super popular. But Christmas Twinkle, the people were like, if I'm gonna, like what Tom's saying, if I'm gonna pick one, it's gonna be the
Right.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. So, yeah.
So how much, when you give this feedback to Banu, how much of it do they actually listen to, if at all?
Well, that's why we work together. It's definitely a relationship based on mutual trust, that we know what we're doing in our market and what we bring to them and what we tell them is truth, and they're super receptive. I mean, Banu's amazing to work with. I mean, all of our manufacturers are great to work with. Banu, we've worked with the third longest. It was Noodlers and Platinum we've worked with. We've almost been the distributor for Platinum for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Noodlers, we've been the distributor since the very, very beginning. And then Banu was the oldest one after that. And so there's a lot of trust there. So,
right.
Kate and I, we talk all the time on WhatsApp, and we actually had this exact same conversation.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they trust you. I mean, like, almost like family, especially when they were having the hard time when the whole conflict started and everything like that. They turned to you, and you were there. You were the connection for them to the rest of the world, because in the beginning, when the conflict in Ukraine started, everybody was shitting all over Banu. Yeah. And they didn't even give him a second to breathe. It's like, so you were their conduit of information. You were the one that were saying, guys, slow down, and these situations are not easy to talk about, right? So you don't say you say the right thing, but slightly the wrong way, and it could just crumble you, right? So you took a lot of risk in getting the message out there, and I do know that they trust you, but my question was, do they listen to the feedback and follow it? How much of that do they go with?
It really depends on the manufacturer, honestly. Banu listens.
What do you mean?
Like, some manufacturers take the feedback that we give, and sometimes they listen, and sometimes they're like, you know what, we have your feedback, but we're still going to do what we originally planned.
I'm very familiar with that in some circumstances.
Yeah, you're like, okay, no problem. Like, that was just our, that's just our opinion. It's your company.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. But yeah, in terms of Banu, they definitely listen quite intently. And like I said, we actually had this exact same conversation about the Christmas pins, and I'm like, okay, next year, like, one Christmas pin. If we do another Hanukkah pin, one Hanukkah pin, like, no more. And then the other thing was like, and if you could tell me what exclusives are being released around the world, so I know what you're making, that would be great. So yeah,
right.
I mean, and Banu's one of those retailers that when they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it. So, like, just recently we were talking to them about putting like UPC barcodes on the boxes, because before they didn't. And they were like, yep, next shipment you get, they'll be on there. And sure enough, pulled it out of the box. I opened the box, and normally they're on, like, the bottom side. And I look, and I'm like, where are all the labels? And I pick it up, and it was on the short side with a UPC code barcode. And I'm like, nice. That's awesome. They're just
fucking A.
They're just so
so you had this discussion about too many Christmas pens, and next year they're telling you, all right, so next year we're not going to do 5 dozen Christmas pens, and they take feedback like that.
One for every reindeer. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So this year they kind of just went and did it. They were all excited about it, and then all of a sudden you have all these Christmas pens. You talk to them. That's similar to how I used to do things when it came to, like, buying stuff, like for example, I think I forgot what was it, Pen BBS. Like, I'd be all excited about Pen BBS. I'll talk to Tom about it, and he'd be like, "Yeah, they're cool pens." And then at 3 in the morning,
that was a really good Tom impression, by the way. Yeah, they're cool pens.
They're cool pens.
Yeah.
And then at 3 in the morning, I'm panic texting him, "Hey Tom, I just bought 10,000 of them. Can you sell them for me?" And then Tom had a talk with me. He's like, "Hey, listen, before you go and do something like that, maybe you should talk to me first, right?"
Yeah.
So then now, like,
Didn't
when
happen.
I make decision, what are you talking about?
No, because then there was the T-shirt thing. So it's like, hey.
Oh yeah, that's
No,
right.
you
there
did.
were the t-shirts.
You did kind of run it by me before, but it was just kind of like, yeah, I kind of already bought these T-shirts. So, what do you think? Is this a good idea? It's like, well, you already bought them. So,
yeah. And it was like, hey Tom, so I have all these T-shirts, and I don't really have a company like Ink Journal that, or a way to sell them. I don't know how to sell them. I wish I knew someone who was going. And then Tom interrupts me. He was like, let me just say it before, because I know. Where are you going? Do you want me to sell them for you on my site? I was like,
oh, well, now that you mention it,
idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. They did well for about 10 T-shirts, and then after that, it was like, I couldn't give them away as like cleaning rags until we had to give them away. But it's good to see that you communicate with, as a distributor.
Yeah.
You communicate the temperature of the market in the U.S. to the manufacturer.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that they are able to, I guess, customize for the American market.
And a lot of times, when you're working with manufacturers, they come out with pens totally on their own. Like most of the time when Benu releases new pens, it's from their own brain, their own thoughts. It's just like, hey, this is what we're coming out with. It's like sometimes they'll be like, what do you think about it? Platinum is one company that always, like every year at Ambiente, what I was talking about earlier with Frankfurt.
Right.
Platinum always will like sit us down and be like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And they even want like color suggestions from us for certain pens, stuff like that, And even more so this year because of the earthquake in Wajima that happened. That was a huge hit to all the makie artists. I mean, from Tashia to Namiki, like all the Nakaya, all the makie artists. Wajima, pretty much all of them were there, if I'm not mistaken. So we had to sit down with Platinum and kind of figure out how we're going to get the lost sales back, because we don't know how long it's going to take to get the Izumo Urushi Makie pins back up and running, because of the devastation and everything like that. But Platinum was amazing, because they're like, we'll do whatever we need to do, just let us know whatever you want to try to like make up the sales. So with like new products or whatever. So yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons for success with your distribution company, right? And one of the things that you and your company have with Tom and the people that he and his team is whenever something comes along with a person, the first, like for example, myself, when back in October, things just started going downhill for me. And we had to take longer breaks than we wanted to.
Yeah.
And when I told you about it, the very first thing out of your mouth and Tom's mouth is, "Are you okay?" Like it wasn't about money, it wasn't about contracts and stuff like that. The first thing that you guys always say is, just be safe and take care of yourself. Right. So I think that's one of the biggest things that people pick up on in the industry of fountain pens.
Yeah.
That maybe other industries, people aren't that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like when it comes to fountain pens and people in the fountain pen industry, there's a lot of consideration and appreciation for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that comes first, and it's very evident with you guys, and I do appreciate the both of yous, because every time we talk about stuff, your concern is about me first before anything else.
Right.
And that's just a fantastic quality of a human being. And then when you're talking about products like fountain pens, it's like, how much better can this guy get? Right? Like he's a nice guy, and he sells fountain pens. Like what more can you ask any human being? You can't really. Right. So I appreciate that you guys, Goldspot and luxury brands are sticking with me. I gotta point something out though, and I've been looking at it all night during the whole episode. Is like,
oh god.
So like we type our own names in.
I know.
Our own names. Like we type.
It's
like I type
Bryce.
in
That's his
PDR.
full name. That's his full name.
Yeah.
Like
Bryce is
Mr.
her nickname. It's
like,
Rice.
People watching won't see it, but there's like labels of our names at the bottom left of the screen. Why did you spell your own name wrong?
Okay, all right. So I got to redeem myself on this a little bit. Okay, so what I was
Right.
going to do at first was I was like, okay, are we going to do like funny names? And then I was like, I don't know if other people are going to be able to see it. So I was going to do
Right.
like Big Boy Bryce or something like that. And I just
would have been good.
when I was trying to like, backspace it, I just didn't see that I forgot the I to.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I'm not like dumb. I know how to spell my own name. Yeah.
I was looking at the whole day, and I'm like, maybe he hit the, one of the
You
letters.
can't fat
because it's
finger.
next-
You can't fat finger the B and then end up with an I. It's just it's on the other side of the keyboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it was
I
going
was
to be
thinking maybe-
Boy Bryce, and I just forgot to take out the I. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to talk about before we go,
Yeah.
the Platinum Izumo. I
Yeah.
love the pen. It's a Urushi lacquer pen, and I know that they got hit with an earthquake and stuff like that. Where are we with that? Because I think the last time you and I spoke about it, we had one retailer selling it for like $1.25 and another retailer selling it for like $2 million. Where are we with that?
So with the whole, that one retailer selling it over the pond, and they were selling it very cheap. Yeah. So what ended up happening with that was, talked to Platinum, was like, hey, they're selling it way below what they should be selling it for. It's too high caliber of a pin to be selling it that low. You need to tell them to get it up. Okay. Yeah. We're going to talk to their, distributor. They're going to have a meeting, yada, yada. And then I kept checking like every week, nothing, still the same price. So finally I messaged him back and was like, hey, so we're going to like talk about it, Long story short, it's fixed now. Last I looked. But what ended up having to happen was, Platinum, if Platinum reaches out to us, we take our job very seriously. So if Platinum reaches out to us and they're like, hey, this retailer is selling it way below cost what they should, or whatever is wrong, we hop on it immediately, message them. Luckily, all of our, retailers, like if Goldspot was accidentally selling it too low, which they never do, but if they're accidentally selling it too low, they immediately change it, It's like...
We've had a few instances where things were just not correct, and
yeah,
it's like, okay.
It's like a
let's gotta change it.
2-hour problem, tops, Like, not a 4-week problem. So what ended up having to happen is I had to send Platinum an email that was just like, hey, I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to grow the sales of the Izumo. I can't do that if we got people in other countries selling it for below what the cost is for people to buy it here, So I was like, listen, we jump on any opportunity to correct any issues that there might be that you guys bring to our attention. All I ask in return is that the other countries do the exact same. That's all I ask. And then within 24 hours, it was changed. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I
So
remember
that's
with
fine.
Walmart.
But, now the issue is actually getting the pins is what the problem is now.
Yeah, I wish I wish the problem was just the pricing problem. Right?
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't I wish it didn't involve
Yeah.
people's lives and stuff. So the issue of just getting them is way worse than what it was.
Well,
But I
what's
do know that
crazy,
you guys
too,
are.
the earthquake. I didn't mean to cut you off, but the earthquake.
No, it's right.
So we went to Japan and met with all the Makie artists in October of last year. It was like an amazing experience. All of them are just incredible artists. I mean, what they can do is just ridiculous. But the fault line that gave way, that created the earthquake in Wajima, had been laid dormant for like 4,000 years, is what they were saying. And we missed it by like 4 months, which, like, in terms of 4,000 years, that's like a rounding error, dude. Like we could have been there so easily,
Yeah, it's crazy. 4 months on a geographical scale of time.
Right.
is just like, if you looked at it on a graph, you're right on the line. You know, that's
Exactly.
just a terrifying
Yeah.
thought if you think about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, luckily, all their
But,
artisans are fine. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
crazy.
great.
So,
That's great.
yeah.
Well, listen, very happy to have you on. Very happy to see
too.
you.
Yeah.
I
Thanks for having me
hope
on,
that
guys.
we can
Appreciate
see
it.
each other, like, yeah. I hope we can see each other, like, face to face soon.
I know.
Right? If you ever plan on coming to, New York, let me know.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm definitely going to go see Goldspot this year. So we should do the thing we did last year, at least.
absolutely,
That'd be fun.
All you have
Yeah.
to do is let me know, because
Cool.
there's a couple of places where I practice shooting at, and it's Reloaders and Gun for Hire. It's right by. It's actually where Tom and I and Sal and Chris we went
yeah.
when
Nice.
Peniter claimed they had an unbreakable pen.
Oh, yeah.
We broke it.
Well, and
Several
we
ways.
were when I was in New York for my wife running the New York Marathon, which now she's got me training for half marathon, which is
Nice.
brutal. But anyway, so she was in New York for the marathon. You and I missed each other, but that was a batshit experience. I have never been in a crowd with more people in my life. Like, that was
You know what's really crazy, though?
unbelievable.
The fact that your wife ran 23 and a half. Was it 23 and a half?
26.2.
Yeah.
26.2 miles. Mm-hmm. Do you
No,
know
26.2. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
26.2 miles? Like, there was a place I wanted to go to, but it was 24 miles away, and I was like, "Fuck that, too far."
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy.
Meanwhile, your wife ran that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
think that's pretty
cool
awesome.
runner, man. Yeah, she does. a good
Yeah,
job.
that's like, hats off to her. Like,
Yeah.
I've ran 26.2 miles in my life.
Yeah,
Not all at once.
Right,
But
just-
if you accumulate the amount of running that I've done,
when she was training, I'd ride behind her on my bike because she can't. In a race, you have checkpoints with water and stuff like that. But like, you can't carry that much water, especially when you're doing a long run on the weekend and you're doing 22 miles. Getting ready for the marathon. So I'd follow behind her on my bike, and I'm like, "Hey, when are we done? My butt is starting to hurt." Like,
honey,
I'm getting a little
tired.
tired over here. Can we please stop? Yeah.
She's running 12 miles in. She hasn't had a sip of water, and you're gasping, drinking all the
No.
water.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is
Yeah.
funny. But
Yeah.
but listen, I hope to see you soon.
You too, man.
Thank you for joining us. It
course.
was really
Anytime.
awesome.
Thanks,
Next
Bryce.
time
Yeah,
that you're
anytime.
on, you have to bring shit to like show the camera and stuff.
I will. I promise.
Yeah, because that would have been great if you had toys to show us and stuff, right?
Listen, if I was told it was going to be on video, I would have. So.
Right. That just tells
Yeah.
me you haven't watched our podcasts.
No, I have. Well, I've listened to it on the podcast app. I just don't want it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people listen more than they watch it. So,
Well, just because I can
yeah,
have
I mean-
it playing in the background, I don't have to
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks again for being here, and
course,
everybody
man.
listening.
Anytime.
Thanks again for joining us. This was episode number 187 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast with Bryce Gillette, and of course, as always, my co-host Tom the Odd Oink Otto. Love you guys. Be well. Be safe.
Stay inky.